Have you ever had an argument with your partner about money? Do you feel like talking about finances in your relationship is like walking through a minefield? Did you know that the Bible not only talks about money, but also teaches us how to use it to bring us together, not drive us apart? Stay until the end, because I won't just give you practical strategies. We'll also explore what God says about this and how you can transform every money conversation into an opportunity for unity, growth, and eternal purpose. This video could be the turning point in how you and your partner handle finances and love. Welcome to Finanzas con Propósito. Why does talking about money make us fight? Disagreements about money are one of the leading causes of divorce. But why? Here are some common reasons: different upbringings and beliefs about money. One of the biggest problems when talking about money as a couple isn't the money itself. It's the invisible baggage we bring from childhood. Our upbringing shapes our beliefs, emotions, and habits about money. The home of fear versus the home of abundance example. One grew up in a home with constant scarcity. They often heard phrases like, "There's no money for that. Rich people are bad. We have to survive with what little we have." Result: this person develops fear of spending, a need to control, and constant anxiety about the future. Example B, the other grew up in a home with abundance or a relaxed attitude. God will provide. Let's enjoy today. Tomorrow we'll see. Inherited beliefs, often unbiblical. Don't work for money. Money is evil. Wealth is a sign of God's blessing. Women shouldn't worry about finances. The man should always provide everything. These cultural, non-biblical beliefs can lead to financial inequality in the relationship, guilt or unnecessary pressure, poor communication due to misunderstood roles, conflicting financial models. What you saw at home you either repeat or reject, but it affects you just the same. Examples: if money was never talked about at home, now it feels uncomfortable. If your parents fought at the end of every month, you now avoid budgeting due to emotional trauma. If you saw your parents go into debt to keep up appearances, you may repeat that pattern unknowingly. The conflict doesn't begin when you see the bank statement. It begins when you never talked about what money means to each of you. Unspoken anxieties, fear of the future, control, scarcity. When a couple argues about money, often what's really happening is an explosion of internal anxieties, never spoken out loud. Fear of the future. What if I get fired? What if one of us gets sick? What if we can't afford the house, college, retirement? Symptoms in the relationship. Obsession with saving, even at the cost of valuable experiences. Inability to enjoy the present due to fear of what might happen. Frustration when one partner doesn't share the same urgency. Control issues. Some people control everything to feel safe. Money becomes a way to control their environment, relationship, even their sense of self-worth. Symptoms: one manages all the accounts and excludes the other. Gets upset if the other spends without asking, even if necessary. Resists joint budgets to keep unilateral power. Scarcity mindset. Even when they have enough, they live as if they'll lose everything. Symptoms: anxiety over spending, even on essentials. Guilt after every purchase. Constant comparisons. Others have more than us. Difficulty being generous or enjoying blessings. How to heal financial anxiety as a couple. Practical steps. Name the emotion. I feel scared when we don't talk about our finances. Share vulnerabilities without judgment. I tried to control because I feared losing control as a child. Pray together for trust and divine provision. Place Bible verses around your home, fridge, planner, phone. Seek wise counsel or Christian financial mentorship. Financial anxiety isn't solved with more money. It's healed with more trust, more communication, and more of God in your relationship. Lack of a shared financial language. Imagine one of you speaks Spanish and the other Chinese. You try to agree, but every word is misunderstood. That's how it feels when a couple doesn't share a common financial language. What is a common financial language? It's how a couple talks about money, defines key terms, saving, spending, luxury, necessity, sets priorities and goals, expresses values, fears, and financial dreams. Without it, one says budget, the other hears restriction. One says investment, the other hears risk. One sees saving as responsibility, the other sees it as fear. It's not that you don't understand each other, it's that you haven't agreed on what the words mean. How to build a shared financial language. Practical steps. Create a plan together. What does living well mean to each of you? Define terms. What is unnecessary spending? What is God's provision? Use shared visual tools, budgets on the fridge, apps, planners. Write down financial goals, trip, house, savings, giving. Create a list of spiritual and practical priorities. Hold monthly financial meetings. With prayer, no phones, no interruptions. Shared financial language isn't about economic expertise. It's about listening, loving, and building a God-centered purpose together. Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Ecclesiastes 4:12. One is a saver, the other a spender. They say opposites attract, but when one wants to save every penny and the other wants to enjoy every dollar, love is tested at the checkout line. The root issue isn't money, it's values. The saver thinks, what if we need it tomorrow? I prefer peace now over momentary pleasure. Money is protection. The spender thinks, isn't this why we work? Life is short, let's enjoy it. Money is a tool to be happy. Both extremes are harmful without balance. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Proverbs 21:20. Neither saving everything makes you more spiritual, nor spending everything makes you more generous. The key is the heart behind the action. What this looks like in real life. The saver is upset when the spender buys unnecessary things. The spender feels controlled and unable to enjoy life. One wants a vacation. The other wants to pay off debt. One wants to give more to the church. The other wants to grow the emergency fund. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Philippians 2:4. How to balance spender and saver personalities. Acknowledge each other's strengths. Savers avoid debt. Spenders encourage generosity and spontaneity. Set clear percentages. Example, 10% tithe, 10% savings, 10% fun, 70% needs. Goals. Create a freedom fund for each, a monthly amount each can spend freely. Plan big purchases together. No surprises over major expenses. Use tools, budgets, finance apps, goal lists. Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Amos 3:3. There is a time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3:1. The goal is not for one to win and the other to lose. It's for both to agree in ways that reflect God's character, order, generosity, and wisdom. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. Proverbs 18:15. Pride or lack of humility in admitting mistakes. Have you ever felt like your partner made a financial mistake, but never admits it? Or maybe you yourself struggle to own up when you've messed up financially. Sometimes the issue isn't spending or debt, it's pride. What does financial pride look like? Never says, "I was wrong" after a bad financial decision. Changes the subject or gets defensive. Makes excuses. "I did it for the good of the family." You're not perfect either. Competes instead of collaborates. "I make more, so I decide." Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Proverbs 16:18. Why is it hard to admit financial mistakes? Ego. We think admitting failure makes us weak. Insecurity. We fear losing respect or authority. Shame. It's painful to admit we hurt the family. Spiritual immaturity. We don't realize that mistakes don't define us, but pride can destroy us. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. He who conceals his sins does not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Proverbs 28:13. How to grow in financial humility. Model humility before expecting it. Say things like, "I see I didn't handle this well. How did this decision affect you? I want to do better next time." Pray together for wisdom and forgiveness. Create a grace-filled environment, not a judgmental one. Celebrate small acts of humility. Thank your partner when they admit something. Respond with love and respect. Better to be lowly in spirit with the humble than to share plunder with the proud. Proverbs 16:19. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Ephesians 4. Two spiritual root of the problem. It's not just about money. It's about what money represents. Security, control, identity, which should be found in God. The heart behind the conflict. Idolatry of money. Matthew 6:24. Lack of biblical stewardship. Luke 16:11. Unrealistic expectations. 1 Timothy 6:6-10. For the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. How to prepare your heart before the conversation. Before talking to your partner, talk to God. Pray first. James 1:5. Ask for wisdom. Inventory your emotions. Are you coming to accuse or to build? Remember the purpose of marriage. Unity, not perfection. Above all else, guard your heart. Proverbs 4:23. Don't enter the conversation to win. Enter to grow together. How to talk about finances without fighting. Key steps. Choose the right moment, not when tired, upset, or distracted. Set a shared purpose. Why are we talking about this? What is our financial and spiritual goal? Run in such a way as to get the prize. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Listen before speaking. Ask. What worries you about our finances? Don't interrupt. Listen with intention. Talk with facts, not assumptions. Use budgets, bills, written goals. Be specific. We want to save $500 in 3 months. Avoid blame. Use "I feel" instead of "you always." A gentle answer turns away wrath. Proverbs 15:1. Establish a financial plan with God at the center. A financial plan without eternal purpose is just organized selfishness. But a plan with God is a family ministry, components of a united plan. Monthly budget based on biblical priorities. Purposeful saving, Proverbs 21:20. Intentional generosity, 2 Corinthians 9, 6 through 8. Prayer before every big decision. Honor the Lord with your wealth. Proverbs 3:9. Imagine if every financial conversation ended not in a fight, but in prayer. Final words. Understand the heart behind the disagreement. Invite God before you speak. Apply biblical principles. Set goals together. Use the conversation as an act of love and worship. God wants to be part of your marriage, even in your finances. Will you open that door too? If you think this content helped you, subscribe to the channel. Here we talk about finances with eternal purpose. Give it a like. Share it with another couple. And remember, a marriage aligned with God doesn't just overcome crises, it turns them into testimony.